Come on guys, kids needs to know how to push forward. Don't look at Romeo and hate him. Chapter 496 is more of a possible setup for the defeated Springer 12 members to have another round with different opponents. It also addressed the message of moving forward with Romeo stuck in place. It was decent effort on what needs to be addressed, and it works in the small doses. If only it happened elsewhere, as it does slow down the hype. Gildas is cool as ever, and that's expected because that is who he is. I mean, come on, this guy. I know a lot of people probably wanted to excuse the idea that Serena got one-shotted. I understand that's the reason trying to hate on this chapter, but for some reason you should have expected that. And if you did get down with the hype of Serena versus Gildas from the last chapter, you will be very disappointed. Not only that Serena already got one-shotted before and pretty much his hype has already died out, but this Historia actually revealed that he's not even his full power, so that's even more the reason to get one-shotted. It's by Gildas. It's okay to get one-shotted anyway, and besides, it only makes it refreshing to know that he is going to fight somebody bigger than he just fought against Serena. Something like Gildas actually going to have more battles besides that one-shotted moment is actually pretty nice to know. There are more recurring characters in the spotlight, and it's good to know because we're going to see more of different fighting combat. I don't need to see the exact same character that we already seen in the last previous battles. Other recurring characters that's from the other guild, such as the Sabertooth. Hopefully they could finish this fight. They don't need to be just in this fight, and we're probably going to see more of different characters going in combat. So it's still nice to see that, and as well as to see more of the interactions. They got the whole moral of pushing forward because of Romeo didn't want to move. He's scared. One hand is understandable because he's only a kid. He's in this war. This is something bigger than he anticipated, and that's understandable. So I can't really fault for this one. It's a simple message. It does it very quick. It doesn't really hammer too much, but you get the idea. That is the moral of this whole entire chapter. That's the focus, with Gildas just doing a one shot, with Nasu screaming, pushing forward, and then everybody goes forward, and that's the end of that story. It's pretty simple. It works. That leads to the problem of this chapter. While I do understand this is a shonen genre with moral lessons, it should not happen at this time. I think the timing could have been better. It could have been used elsewhere. If anything, it could have been used for the previous chapter because it would have fit in well and everybody would just keep on coming, and it would have been a good way to use that address moral. The last chapter was entertaining, and you have Gildas making a return after 77 chapters. So seeing this chapter being just something to focus on Romeo understanding the pushing forward, it just should have been used in the last chapter because this chapter could have been reserved for a more action pack. And yes, it used a lot of setup for the upcoming battle, and I get that, but it's just something that this whole thing was the focus that just take a lot of time from this chapter. When you think about it, this whole chapter didn't really progress too much. It only give you that message. It only give you the setup with the Springer 12 members going against other people that we haven't really seen fight completely, which leaves me to a very bewildered feeling of this setup. Because the fact is, these Springer 12 members already fought, and they are still going to fight like another round. It almost feels like Mashima is trying to make us forget that they fought before, and it also make us feel like we are seeing it for the first time when they're at their full strength, when many of them are already dead, and many of them are already demonstrating their full capacity. So it's just weird how we started seeing an individual matchup, which is another thing. They all going against it individually. I would expect for Springer 12 members to be working together and actually showcase something different and unique from the last time we have seen them. And I understand they fighting against different opponents like Rogue and Miranda. I can understand they fighting something completely different from the last battle, but it's just only stalling time unless they all get one shot, which is actually going to be baffling if they even do that. Only makes you think maybe they should never bring back Springer 12, the one already defeated in the first place, let alone the fact that maybe they should have just have the hype kept on for the Springer 12 rather than didn't get derailed from the last previous battles they have. And like I said, when they lost just in the normal fashion way rather than losing in a very lucky way for these heroes, as in to say these villains are so threatening they should be considered lucky that they actually beat them, but they never give you that feeling. So it just feels like we're seeing this again, and it's just going to be redundant, and I don't know if that's really the case, but we just have to wait and see it in the next chapter. You could call it a nitpick, but it's something that should be a little bit alarming as something to stall time and try not to reach to the end. I guess seeing Vale in the very end of the chapter is something to be concerned, so maybe it would be a different scenario. Either way, this chapter was fine. I can't say this is a real bad chapter, but it didn't progress so much because of the whole message they wanted to throw in. The Ghost Arena gets one-shotted. I did like the art, but it's just something that didn't progress the entire story, and it just feel like maybe it should have used that morality in the last chapter instead. Chapter 496. Guess a 6. I can see a lot of people not liking this chapter a lot, and I can understand that because the whole Ghost Arena getting one-shotted, even though some people should have expected that. Gildas didn't get too much of a spotlight, even though for little he has, it was pretty cool. I guess people just want to get to progress further and get to the real main event of the battle, because we already seen the Spring of 12 before, the one that has been defeated, so why do it again, especially when they're not doing it working together with some exception, but whatever. My thoughts are told. Don't let yours on hold. Leave a comment below. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this and want more of this, subscribe to my channel and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.